Moving on to the VeniceF, this series of what you call Digilog mixers.
That's right, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about
Analog
those.
Digital console. I mean, the Venice has been a very successful product for Midas. We thought it was about time to give it a little bit of a makeover. So while we were going through that process, we decided we'd create actually a hybrid product. So we have a console that's got all the ease and convenience and audio quality of our traditional analog designs, but then there's a lot of extra value. We've provided a 32 by 32 Firewire digital interface. Excuse me. Provided a 32 by 32 Firewire digital interface, so you can plug your favorite computer into the console and then send audio in a digital format between the console and the computer.
And this is obviously, before we go into a little bit of the technical side of things, these are the smallest footprint that you guys have come out with. Was it something that you wanted to sort of hold off, because a lot of other firms have sort of already brought out their small footprint consoles? Was the R&D fairly heavy, and you just wanted to wait for the right moment to make the big push?
We needed the resources, to be quite honest. We've recently been taking on a number of new design engineers. We've now got new investment in the company, so we can invest in new products. So it was just waiting for the right time for everything to sort of line up properly.
And this comes in a 16, 24 and 32?
That's correct, yeah. The original Venice had those three frame sizes, so we're keeping the same kind of format, because 16 channel is small enough to go in a little rack mount. The 32 channel is capable enough to be the front of house mixer in a reasonable sized venue. So hopefully we got the whole thing covered with those frame sizes.
Okay, and the whole Digilog thing, can you explain to me how that works? Because it looks like just an analog mixer.
Well, in a way it is just an analog mixer, in that if you forget about the computer, it is a perfectly ordinary analog mixer. The difference is this little green switch here, which switches between the analog mic input and the digital Firewire input. I can route direct outputs to Firewire, and I can also route the console's mix buses to the Firewire interface.
Okay.
Once I've done the conversion, I can then run my favorite DAW software on the laptop, so it could be Logic or Cubase, or this software that we're actually bundling with the console is a 60-day free trial version of Record by Propellerhead.
Okay.
And this has got all effects plugins in, compressors, gates. It's also a virtual mixer in the computer, and we've also got a 32-track hard disk recorder. And because we've got the Firewire inputs on the console, not only can we record from the console directly to the laptop without any additional interfaces, we can then play back the 32-track recording into the relative inputs and then remix the whole thing.
Versatile then.
Yeah, it is. We're not the first company to put a Firewire interface on a mixing console, but I think this implementation of it, and also the fact that we've retained a very high quality performance in the analog mixer, makes this a fairly unique product.
Okay, let's talk about one of these channel strips then.
Okay, right. First of all, we have a brand new mic pre designed by Alex Cooper, specifically for this console. We've got some new rather pro features around the mic amp, which include a polarity invert, phantom power on the surface of the console. The direct out, that's both the analog and the digital direct outs, can be switched pre or post EQ. We have the Firewire digital input selector, and then we have a switch to switch the analog insert in and out. The original Venice EQ has been replaced by an XL3 type equalizer, which has variable bandwidths on the mids, and also a swept high and low shelving filter with a bypass switch. The aux buses have been changed in that now all 6 buses can be switched pre or post. The first pair can be switched pre-EQ as well, so for dedicated monitor feeds. Individual routing to groups, the addition of a discrete mono bus, pan to groups, and also 100mm fader kind of finishes off the mono input.
Great.
Each one of the frame sizes also includes 4 stereo channels, and we've also got 2 channels of matrix added onto the outputs of the console too.